I'm Baris Ozistek. I'm the CEO of Netmarble EMEA region. Today, I'll share you some of our experiences from our Accelerator. Indeed, we call it a venture building environment, which is based in Istanbul. It's called StartersHUB. I'll share some of our internal experience and also experience with the startups. By the way, StartersHUB is not only game-related, game-dedicated accelerator. We have multiple accelerators under StartersHUB umbrella. So we are focusing on gaming, IoT, fintech, insurtech, travel tech, any digital content, you may name it. We have established StartersHUB on 2015. We have mainly 3 partners. One partner is the founder of the major telecom operator in Turkey. The other is the largest investment brokerage company, and Netmarble. When we invest, our main idea was to support the Turkish entrepreneurial ecosystem. So our main intention was kind of social responsibility. The profitability was not our main intention. But in 3 years' time, what we have achieved, it became quite profitable operation. Now our portfolio valuation more than doubled in 3 years period. So which shows the tech environment, the tech investment really works besides the social responsibility. It was a $10 million USD fund, by the way. And what we provide, I think when you check that slide, I'm sure you are saying it's so common. It's so common to see, we are providing mentorship, networking, trainings, partnership supports, funding. It's common. It's the same everywhere. So what we do differently, what we do in another perspective is we are totally involved in the operation. So as the founders, as the board members, we are the mentors. We are providing the trainings. We are together with the startups. What we face in most of the times, the companies try to meet me or my other colleagues at the board, and we don't have time to meet the companies. That's the reality. That's the business life. But our startups, they have the opportunity. We meet with the startups. We spend our time with the startups, not with the ordinary business meetings. So, of course, we have a talented team running StartersHUB. But when, as the board, you are fully involved in the operation, when you are fully involved with the startups, first of all, we really can contribute. Second, we can generate an amazing mentor network. On the paper, most of the accelerators, on the paper, they have an amazing mentor network, but the mentors are not active. That is the problem. Globally, that's the problem. In our case, as we are fully involved, the mentors also feel the responsibility to be involved into that environment. So if you come at an ordinary day, you can see the CEO of Cisco, Intel, Microsoft, the telecom, all C-levels of telecom operators. Many people already involved, already living in that environment with the startups. I think this is the main difference, how we created the real value to that entrepreneurs. So as a result of that contribution, we have got more than 2,500 applications worldwide in the last 3 years. And over 300 cities, these applications came from Brazil to Russia or to Saudi Arabia, and even from Asia. We have got applications, and we have already invested to these startups. So StartersHUB is not focusing only to the Turkish startups; it's focusing global scale. But of course, our focus area is Eastern Europe, Turkey, and Middle East. So as a result of that, we have invested 53 startups in the last 3 years, and we have run 6 programs. As mentioned, we are running different accelerators. One of them is gaming-oriented, the other is fintech, insurtech-oriented, one of them is IoT-oriented, things like that. And in the next 2 months period, we are opening 2 new programs. One is, again, gaming-oriented, and the other is IoT and travel tech. So what is the life cycle in an accelerator? So of course, it starts with the scouting process. Our amazing team scouts the startups globally. They collect the applications. Then they make a pre-evaluation. And then they select 25 to 30 startups and invite them to the selection day. In a single, sometimes two selection days, we decide which startups to invest after the pitch on the stage and then one-to-one discussions. We directly decide and invest to these startups. Then the most important part starts. We call it venture building. In average, it is 6 months, but we are not rigid. Sometimes it may be shorter. Sometimes it may go up to 8 months. And at the end of that period, if the startup needs to stay in our facility, and if the startup needs our support, keeps needing our support, we are very welcomed. We don't say goodbye, you should leave the facility. They can stay, they can work in our facility. And we do follow-on investments together with VCs or sometimes together with angel investors. What we see is, especially at the early growth stage. So what is growth stage by the mean? Growth stage means the product is ready, the team is ready, and it may generate some revenue or it may not generate any revenue, but they need the funds to scale up. So at that stage, most of the VCs may be afraid to enter, afraid to invest. But on the other side, there are many angel investors. Many angel investors are ready to invest. But the problem for the angels are they don't have the legal teams. They don't want to deal with the shareholders' agreements. They don't want to deal with the startups in the negotiation phase. They just want to put some money and get some equity. So we solve that problem as well. In such a follow-on investment period, we lead the investment. We take care of all agreement, legal, that type of negotiation stuff. And with this agreed valuation, an angel investor can come and invest. And we keep supporting the startups after the second round of investment. So one of our key learnings, especially on our side, I mean on the investment committee side, first of all, which startup you want to invest? So the answer to that question is if the entrepreneur, if the startup is in love with their product, with their business, if they are dreaming their business, then it's the correct startup to invest, especially in the gaming area. If you keep playing your game, even in your mind, if you dream your game, you are the correct entrepreneur because you should love this game. You should believe that the game will be a big star, blockbuster globally. So you are the correct one to invest. But on the investment committee side, on the investor side, what we have learned, we should not fall in love with this entrepreneur, with the idea. So sometimes we also fell in love with the idea. I see the game, I say it's amazing, then we should invest. But then we miss the rest. So our rule is all investment committee members should approve the investments. If I fall in love, one of my friends can say, hold on, we should not invest. So we have very strict rules. We don't invest into a single entrepreneur. We only invest into the teams. So even we see the best idea, even we fall in love with the game, with the concept, with the design, with the graphics, whatever you name it. If this is a single person, we don't invest. We don't invest into one-man shows. We only invest into the teams. So this is written in every book, by the way. So this is not a thing that I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, even if it is written on the books, we did that type of investments. Because when you fall in love, you do such mistakes. But then you learn by experience because your money is gone. When the team is not there, it doesn't work. That's the reality. Let's go on the startup side. Whatever they do, gaming or the other businesses. But in gaming, it happens a lot. When you ask how you will reach the millions of users, in the business plan it writes you'll have 1 million users 3 months later. How it will go? The answer, mostly, the game will go on viral. No, it doesn't happen like that. It doesn't happen. It doesn't. It is not so easy to go on viral. If you're just spending 10K, if you are just spending 20K USD, you don't get millions of downloads. Yeah, you may get it. It may happen. You got featured. You can go to viral, but it's like buying a lottery ticket, and we don't buy lottery tickets in startup business, in investment area. So we expect the startups should be solid on the business plan part, should be solid, should understand how marketing goes on, how user acquisition goes on. So that is one thing we are facing. Especially the gaming startups, they love their games. They are very oriented, focused on development of the game, but they miss the marketing part. So, which is very important because it is something you should take care while developing your game. If you say the game go on viral, then you should develop some features that may help game go on viral. That may help people to share, to recommend. If you don't develop these features, that means you don't understand how user acquisition goes on. And when you don't develop these features, even the game, the core content is great, you cannot reach millions. This is one of our games. We have a couple of IP-based games like Marvel Future Fight, Star Wars Force Arena. So when a startup sees our game, they come apply. So I ask, why did you apply to that program? What is your main intention? What do you want to get? They say, together with Netmarble, I want to get an IP. No, it's not that easy. So getting an IP is extremely expensive, as you can imagine. But besides the money, the more important part is when you get such an IP, you should allocate a huge team to work with the IP holder, because IP comes with lots of restrictions, lots of guidelines. If you don't have the team to manage all these, to develop according to the guidelines, even if you spend your money to get an IP, it doesn't work. You cannot go to live operations. Also, what I see from the, especially gaming startups, the awareness, unfortunately, is a bit low sometimes. What do I mean? When the startup approaches us and says, okay, we are developing a game, we have already started the game, and we are developing a mobile MMORPG. For me, personally, I'm an MMORPG player, so I love to hear some people developing MMORPGs. But on the other side, yeah, this is one of our game again, Lineage 2 Revolution. So hundreds of people working to develop this game. And even after the initial development, this is live operations. So hundreds of people just develop new content to maintain the game. So, but just 3-5 people startup comes and says, we are developing MMORPG. Development of MMORPG means you will compete with the games like Lineage 2 Revolution. So you need resources. You need hundreds of people. You cannot compete with MMORPG by a couple of people developing content. So it's not kind of startup business. But on the other hand, there are many games, many genres that can be developed by the startups. Creativity is much more important than the deepness of the content. So startups should be aware of the reality, should be aware of the industry, and create the games, develop the games according to the needs and according to the reality of their resources. Again, one thing we observe it's the mobile. Together with the mobile, the gaming industry has already changed, especially in the last 4 to 5 years period. Gaming industry significantly shifted to mobile, and thanks to mobile, the gaming industry is growing very fast, as you can follow everywhere. But together with the mobile shift, also the audience totally changed. Now our audience is the kids and my grandfather, grandmother. My mother and my father now, they are hardcore gamers. Like 5-6 years ago, I was telling who is a hardcore gamer. The hardcore gamer is, I kept telling, if someone plays 3 hours game every day, that person is hardcore gamer. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I think 3 hours gaming a day pretty much. So I'm a hardcore gamer because I play 3 hours. But now my mother, is she a hardcore gamer? Should we call her a hardcore gamer? But she plays more than 3 hours a day. Yeah, she's playing casual games, match 3 games. So we can call hardcore gamer, but in a different sense. So most of the gaming startups miss that point. Because when we call a hardcore gamer, that means the gamer plays MMORPG, FPS, action games, core games, and the profile of a hardcore gamer, mostly men, boys, teenagers, the age between 10 to 25 years old. Now, this is not the hardcore profile anymore. Together with the mobile, everything has changed. But especially the young game developers, they are real hardcore gamers, as we described 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So they miss that change sometimes. For now, the reality is you can target women. You can target people over 40 years old. You can target only kids at 5 years old. So in every segment, there is a huge market. So you can develop your game targeting one specific audience. You don't need to develop the games for the typical action gamers. This is a picture from one of my popular artists. She's Aliye Dupre. She's a pretty famous Turkish artist. As you can see, she's good at art. And again, at startups, what I see is sometimes they approach developing gaming as an art business. Art is something else. So of course we discuss about game art, but this is something else. So when we develop the game for millions of people to play. When you develop the game, you generate revenue from mass audience. You don't generate revenue only a couple of people. But when you make art, you generate your revenue only from one single piece. So the business model is totally different. But when you approach the game business as an art, then you miss the business model. It doesn't work like that. You just make an art, it's priceless. The price is whatever we give. You may call this 10K. If you give 100K, it's 100K. It's one piece. It's unique. But game is not like that. Game is mass audience. So the startups sometimes miss that major difference. As a result, we are now launching our new game accelerator, which is called StartersHUB. It's a kind of post-accelerator. We are not accepting idea stage startups. We are accepting if a game has already developed in the market or not in the market, but we want to see the game. We want to play, we understand the game, and we want to see the team capability. What we provide, of course, we provide training, mentorship. We provide design support direct from Netmarble professionals. We handle multiple workshops for monetization, business model, level design, and so on. And we are committed as Netmarble. All startups we guarantee all these selected startups that Netmarble will publish their game. We provide technical supports, we provide QA supports in that StartersHUB. That's why we will only select 5 teams. We will focus to these 5 teams. All my team, personally me, and all my top-level managers, they will be all focused to these 5 startups. And we will invest $70,000 USD to each startup, together with StartersHUB program. And we are looking for game lovers who are passionate about their ideas and, of course, with their talented, solid, and coachable teams. That is the program we have launched. We will collect the applications for the next 1.5 months, and the program will start by the beginning of August. Well, thank you very much for listening to me. If you have any questions, I'd like to hear.
So, interesting program. However, do you also do investments outside the program?
Yes, we do investments outside the program, but when we do investments separately, we are looking for a larger scale studios for the ideas. And for the accelerator stage investments, we only do through StartersHUB, because they need mentorship, training, that type of support as well, and we want to do it in a structured way. But for larger scale revenue-generating studios, yes, we do invest.
I actually have a question. So how intensive is the program? Say you mentioned that participants or people who apply, applicants rather, should already have a game that could be active or not, could have been released or not. So how demanding can this program be if they also need to monitor, commercial activities?
Well, the program is not that intense for the studios to block their daily operations. But of course, if they are fully occupied, they cannot benefit from the program. But I can say at least 2 or 3 days every week they should allocate their time for the program. And by the way, they should come to that program if they need such a support. If you have a game in live operations but not performing well, if you believe the game is good, if we believe the game is good, but if the KPIs are not good, that means some features should be developed. Then they need that program, because together we check one by one and we decide how to increase the retention rate, how to increase the monetization. In every aspect, we check one by one. We share all our experiences, what we have at Netmarble.
Since you're also committing to investing into the companies that apply and hopefully get selected, what about company incorporation? Do they have to incorporate a company in Turkey for that? Or, if they already have a legal structure that has been set up somewhere else, that's going to be good enough when it comes to investment?
Yeah, we can invest any company already structured in any territory. But on the other hand, if they don't have any company, they are also welcomed, because when we decide to invest, first the company is established. Indeed, if they don't have any company, it's much more easier, because no need for due diligence, no need to check the previous records. I prefer to establish a new company from scratch. Sometimes, if the history is a bit blurry, we advise them to establish totally a new company and be partner in that new company. It's much more easier, and we help for that.
Baris, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.